have to ask you, my nephews, I would cover their ears right now, but we are in back to school season, right?
Oh, 100%. Yes. My deadline for our back to school edition was on Friday. So I am officially in back to school mode. That will be published for our August 20th edition. It's a special supplement that we put out that has all of the bus routes included as released by the school district and a number of special stories by our reporters and editors.
Give us a preview.
Well, our editor, John Voquette, created a lesson on how the newspaper gets put together every week. So that's that'll be fun to read. And then along with photos, we compiled a whole bunch of photos that look back at the last school year. And also all the submitted photos from the first day of the last school year, letting parents know that they can submit photos again for this school year. So first day of school happens, and then immediately sending me photos, Eliza, Eliza at thebee.com, because the deadline's going to be the next morning.
Wow. All right. Well, listen, the photos, I think that's a big selling point for the print edition, right?
I think so too. Yeah. Who doesn't like seeing their photo in the paper?
And now it's like a higher resolution. I don't know if that's the right term, but
I think it is. We're going to go with that.
I'm noticing a difference in the quality of the pictures. And let's be honest, you're really good at that. And you like to take the camera out, right?
Yeah, thank you. I love taking photos. But I also love seeing all the submitted photos from the first day of school because, parents always get their kids smiling. I get the action photos of them getting off the bus and things like that. There have been a couple of years where they look like they're leaping off the bus in my photos. I don't know if it's just because kids tend to be shorter at the start of the school year than at the end of the school year. And, especially for kindergartner and first graders, they're just still learning to navigate the huge steps on a school bus, which they are really huge when you look at the length of kids' legs. So it's pretty fun.
This is like proof that you are the perfect person for this job, that you notice things like that. I wonder how many other reporters have considered that obstacle that kids face.
I mean, it's a big obstacle. If all the rest of us had to climb steps in proportion like that, I think our days would be much different.
Eliza, are you filling in this week for John, or?
No, he's just out today.
So, yeah. Well, then you have the task of telling us about what is in the pages of the Bee. We're going to come back to the school year that's
of course
looming, but talk to us about what's in the pages of the Bee.
Well, our reporter, Jim Taylor, had two stories on the front page this week. One was about the ad hoc building work group, and they're planning for Newtown's future in terms of municipal projects. And then he had another one about the public works crews. They're playing a bit of catch up right now. They're about a month behind schedule due to materials being delayed. So those projects are coming and people will notice them. John Voquette, our editor, also had a state positivity rate story about COVID-19 in that update. It is at the highest level it has been in months, and it's causing some worry. And our sports editor, Andy Hutchison, had a special reunion about graduates. This one woman's been hosting graduates from her class and its surrounding classes from the 1950s. So there was a big gathering.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Alyssa Silver, she wrote two stories about A Year in Plastic, which is an art presentation that was held for the library by an artist named Sarah Jane Thornington. And then she also had a story about a 2019 Newtown High School graduate who was currently cycling across the country to benefit the Ability Experience, which empowers people living with disabilities. So there was a lot in a range of stories in last week's paper.
And that, of course, is available now. This
past Thursday. Yeah.
This past week, I found myself reading an Eliza story on the air about farmers markets.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I love going to the farmers market and just catching up. But this week was extra fun because it's last week was the weekly national farmers market. So everyone was being asked to support local farmers markets.
So that was across the country.
Yes.
I have to tell you, I think we have probably the class of the fleet when it comes to farmers markets in our area.
There are a ton of options, and it's definitely filled in. There are more vendors now than there were at the start of the summer, and it's going to continue through October. So Tuesdays, 2 to 6, it's a great place, and so much produce. I heard from a number of people there who came up to talk to me about how much of a bounty they get every week. Like, it's a lot. And it's wonderful.
And we're talking about the Newtown market.
The Newtown Farmers Market, yeah.
Monroe has a nice one.
They do, I've heard. Heard good things. And there was one family that said that they go around every day to different farmers markets. So.
That's right. I said that to someone. I said I could kill half a day just going around the farmers market. And by the way, I love vegetables and fruit as much as the next guy, but there's usually like baked goods too.
Oh yeah, baked goods, jams, so many things.
Stuff for your dogs, but I don't know if you could bring them. Can you bring them?
I think at the Newtown Farmers Market you can.
You can,
because it's a walking path around there. So
yeah,
I've seen dogs and I have not seen them kicked out.
So let's go back to, and again, my nephew I know that he's counting down the days.
Oh yeah, every kid.
What?
No one loves summer, right?
What does it mean this, like, what are we looking at this year? Let's give us, because that's maybe the top 5 news stories that we're doing on WPKN is I hate to say most of it revolves around masks and stuff like that, but what is the school year going to look like this year?
I think actually, I know masks are a big thing that people are focusing on, but I think the biggest focus, at least for the Newtown School District, is just making sure everyone is coming back with a positive attitude and that supports are there for everyone, from students to parents and staff. I know that was a big thing. The superintendent recently talked to me for a story for our back to school edition, that the administrative team has been focusing on that. So masks are of course part of it, and they're going to be looking at the CDC and local health district for guidance on what to do. But there is a large plan for going back to school this fall, and it's all detailed in our back to school edition. It's also what the Board of Education in Newtown, at least, approved in June. So not much is changing, except when or if there will be further guidance from the Department of Health and CDC based on changing COVID-19 rates.
And I guess compared to where we were a year ago, do you even remember? I have to, I can't.
I try not
really.
to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big difference. Kids are coming back full time. That was not happening last year. So yeah, it's a big difference this fall.
How did we end? How did we end last year?
We were in full in Newtown.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to look probably pretty similar to the end of the school year, but with supports and everything ready and in place and on the ground for returning instead. And
I know, like from Hartford, has there any word on whether the governor's powers will be extended? I know that they're up in September, right? The authority to make. Well,
I know there was a new release just 4 days ago, but it was also the deadline for my back to school edition. So I'll be honest, I was focused on something else, but I know there was a new release.
Homework for both of us.
That extended the masks and basically supported local communities making the decision. But yes, we should read up on that more.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this just because I look on social media, and school board meetings over the last year have been contentious. There's been a lot going on with like critical race theory. Is Newtown immune to all this?
I wouldn't say no. There have been some parent concerns brought up at Board of Education meetings, but the Board of Education's been primarily focused on getting kids back and paying attention to education. So that hasn't been an actual topic brought up by the Board of Education, but parents have definitely brought concerns to the board.
You are in a position where you probably talk to more parents than most. What do they bring up? What do parents and students care about? What are they worried about? What are they talking about heading into this new school year?
All I'm hearing about is masks, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is the number one thing that people are talking about, both for and against. I think it's just a number one concern because it's up in the air. Like, they don't know. But I think that once the guidance is out there, it'll be a little less of a concern, once there's actual announced information from the state. I never thought, as a parent, I never expected to actually see like bumper stickers taking a side on this. That blows my mind. But it's what do they call it? It's like a touchstone, right? This is like an issue people really care about. It sure is. Well, Eliza, I love when you come on the air with us, and I think the timing was fortuitous.
And I hope that you'll check back in when the school year starts to roll along. When is back to school in Newtown?
Oh my goodness, I'm blanking. All I remember is August 20th is our print edition.
Okay, all right.
But good luck to your nephew at the start of school.
Oh, I'm telling you, I just saw the kind of like when he starts to count the days, I see that look on his face, and I just listen. I don't. Did you go to school before Labor Day?
A couple years, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was in New York. Labor Day was that. It was Labor Day, and then it was teacher conference. There was like a teacher conference, and then we would go back usually like the Wednesday.
Yeah.
So anyway,
enjoy.
Eliza, thank you so much.
You too. Have a great day.